Hey everyone, welcome back into the studio. Today I'm joined by Mitch Thomas. I'm taking over for Brian. He's a little under the weather today, so I'm kind of behind the camera and in front of it at the same time. We're going to make it work. Mitch, how you doing?
I am doing well, sir. Thank you. Enjoying the rain today. Not so much.
Gosh. No, it sucks. You know, I know the GAC freshman camp's going on this week, and that's going to be tough for them. I know they're probably out there struggling to find a way to get on the field right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it all week.
Yeah, because it looks like it's going to rain multiple days, and I know that you guys are going over there on Thursday.
Yeah,
I think still we're supposed to, but we're going to have rain the next couple of days. I literally was talking to a buddy. We have some crop that needs to get wet for where the farm is at, and it's like we need a little rain, not a lot of rain. So what I think, like several parts of the state had got like 11 inches of rain in 5 hours. I think in our area, we got like 7 or 8 inches of rain. Fortunately, I didn't get it too bad. I have a small little leak in the basement that was exposed, but some people have a lot of water in there. And so definitely thoughts to them guys. Hopefully they get everything worked out, not too much damage lost.
Definitely. Well, today, topic-wise, I wanted to talk about something a little different. You and Brian, I know you usually have your topics, and I'm in charge today. I kind of wanted to talk about recovery going towards the end of the season here. Players' bodies are obviously tired. Bodies are going to be needing rest, recovery, might be injuries, might be minor injuries, nothing major that needed, surgery or anything like that. But what do you think, in your opinion, are some ways that guys can take care of their bodies, moving into the off season, take some time, break, recuperate, all that kind of thing? What do you think the best way to do that is?
It was obviously growing up for me. I don't know that we had as much information. I always, we always had strength and conditioning guys in high school sports and in college. I don't know that the recovery process was always there because we went from one sport to the next sport to the next sport.
Right.
And so recovery was just the downtime from, your movements that you made in baseball specific or football specific or whatever. I'm a big fan of, like, this time of the year, a lot of stretching, walking, things that get the heart moving, some high intensity type training versus maybe starting to lift weights because your body's still torn up. And so, you don't really want to start getting into moving heavy weights. I'm a firm believer that, even in season training, a lot of bands, a lot of stability bands, a lot of stability movements, a lot of core braced movements. But again, like, I love the swimming pool. Now's the time to go swimming. You jump in that cold pool, hot pool, if you have the ability to do that. If you have a recreational center close to you that might have a hot tub, then go. One of my favorite things that we did have at Missouri Western towards the end of the time that I was there, the Kansas City Chiefs had come in and put their practice squad up there. Well, they had a hot tub and a cold tub, and it actually was lanes that you would walk through. And so you would basically, it would take maybe 12, 13, 14 seconds or whatever, walk through this thing. It's belly button high. You would walk through it. You would come out. You go right into the next pool. And it would go from, hot to cold or cold to hot, however you wanted to walk through the pool. And I always thought that was great for recovery.
Yeah, definitely.
The contrast of the two. Now, obviously, everybody doesn't have that ability. So I'm thinking, like, roll out. How much can you roll out? How, keep the legs active, get on a bicycle, stationary bike, even the recumbent bike. Don't get out there trying to, do 30 flights of stairs.
No.
Trying to work on the glutes or something. Don't go in there trying to deadlift 225 pounds. The movements are, I'm still one that likes to lift during season and even during the recovery process. But the weights, the numbers of movements, there's not a reason why you can't do 3 sets of 8 reps at 135 when when 225 is easy just to maintain. And,
Right.
um,
And that's
we're talking about that right now
yeah, and that's I think
in
a
our
big
gym.
part of that is maintenance. Is what is the best way to rest your body, but also maintain the things that you've added on, weight wise throughout the year. Because that was one thing that actually was a big thing for me in college that I learned too, is talking to our trainers, the guys we work with. 'Cause we worked with Excel physical training as a pitchers, and most people, I don't think a lot of these kids realize that this is not the time, like you said, to be lifting heavy, to be putting on massive amounts of muscle and all that kind of thing, because you're not going to be using that as much. And by the time you get to season, you're going to be burnt out. Your body's going to be tired. It's going to be hard strained to actually be at peak physical form. You want to be hitting your PRs, your maxes, all that mid-season. That's whenever you want your body to be in peak form. Like you said, this is the time for maintenance. This is the time to let your body rest, recuperate, and just get ready to build back up, to get stronger, to allow your body to do that. And I think a great thing that you said, swimming. Swimming is one of the best things for a baseball player. It's so good for your shoulders, your joints, all those things that baseball players have a lot of trouble with, your elbow, everything like that, your arm in general. It's so good to build strength for one, but also just keep blood flowing, stretch it out, all of those things.
And lungs too. I mean, the
Yep.
conditioning side to swim. My senior year of high school baseball, I pretty much owe to my old JV coach, and the swim coach. And I was having troubles with my knees. As a heavier athlete, so as a catcher, I had some problems, and so I couldn't necessarily run on the hardwood floors and stuff of the gymnasium when we had to be inside because of weather issues. And so they would put me in the swimming pool. And I can remember one of the vividly, because it really was not fun, is they would put me in the deep end to tread water. And I would basically tread water for 45 seconds. And then for 15 seconds, I'd have my hands up and only my legs. So then I would have to, for 15 seconds, just use my legs to keep my face obviously above water. And then it would opposite the next minute. I would have to use my hands to keep up. Then I had to go 45 seconds of just legs. And then 15 seconds I could tread water. And then I'd have to go 45 seconds of arms. And my arm was in the best shape. My body was in the best shape. I felt the best. I was much more athletic as a big guy over this. And so I've been a fan of swimming pools ever since. They're just not easily available to everybody.
Right.
Heck, even some of the high schools out in this area, we don't even have swimming pools.
No.
The Wentzville School District goes to the rec center, I think, or recplex to swim for swim meets, maybe somewhere else. I could be wrong, but my high school had a swimming pool in it. And so I could just, we had access to it. And so next thing I know, the whole entire team's swimming when we conditioned. And it was just very different. The pitchers held up very differently. I don't know, who took over Gold's Gym. I know that Gold's Gym had swimming pools in it. I don't know if any of the new Club Fitnesses do, but
I do not believe so. That's where I usually work out. But none of those, at least that I know of in the area, have swimming pools that way.
I got you. And I, again, I would pay $30 a month to use a swimming pool right now. Obviously, go to a lake and do whatever you want to do, but it was phenomenal for me. But now, because I don't have those things, I have a foam roller. I have a good foam roller. I spent the good money to have a foam roller. I have rollers that can toward to my legs or my calves or, forearms, things of that nature, rolling out there. The bands are probably something that I'll do often anyways. It just to create a little bit more flexibility, to, the relax of the muscles, I guess, if you will, or just some of the repairs of them. For shoulder exercises, I love the little mini trampolines and taking a little heavy ball, maybe not the heaviest one, but, just one to keep it active, to get the blood flow going. Because blood is what's repairing, right? The torn muscles. And so trying to just get that blood flow going, trying to get it to designated areas. Don't sleep on dry needling,
Agreed.
cupping. Go to if you do have some nagging injuries, go talk to your physical therapist or
Yes.
PT people, or even chiropractor. I use my chiropractor. I've been going to my chiropractor who played baseball, Scott Grogan, over off of
Yeah.
Highway K,
Yep.
and he played baseball. So I go in there. I'm like, hey man, I got this problem with my shoulder, and he's like, hey, why don't you do this to your neck? And next thing I know it, he's like, your posture's terrible. So I start fixing my posture. Next thing I know it, I'm having less arm pain.
Yeah.
And so for me, like just getting directed into to having people that do this for a living, trust them.
Yes.
Don't be afraid. They're not the dark medicine or whatever, people call chiropractors.
No,
They,
chiropractic
they
can
I don't even
really
go
make a
there and get
difference.
I don't even go there to get my neck popped or my back popped. I go in there and he has me do stretches and movements that I wasn't aware of. I mean, I do things
Right.
that one of the craziest things that he has me do is actually I position myself like a baby would be to get up, like from rolling over, like from their
Mm-hmm.
back to their belly. I have to do a move that helps my back out tremendously, and it's all about core bracing.
That
And
makes sense.
it's crazy how it impacts my hip, my back, and just again stretching. So
Yeah. And just to kind of piggyback
I'm a
off of
big
that,
fan of this.
yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that, because you're talking about flexibility, all of those things, and a lot of this has to do with mobility as well. Guys working on mobility training. I think there's so many athletes nowadays that are not flexible, that don't have the mobility, the agility that they need to actually prevent injuries during the season. A lot of injuries can just come from being more flexible, being more mobile, having those fast twitch muscle fibers built up in your body so that can handle the rigorous activities during the season. That is a huge part of it. And this may be a little hot take, but actually, one thing that helped me a lot in college actually was doing yoga. Yoga was awesome for mobility training, flexibility, all of those things, and it's actually a pretty decent workout too if you do it correctly and go through a full training session of it. It makes a massive difference on your body. It really does.
Yeah, and I mean yoga at the end of the day, you're using a lot of bracing in yoga. And
Yes.
so when you try to squeeze that core, again, going back to what my chiropractor taught me, when I started using my core, I was shocked about how sore I was starting to get, even going back to lifting because I
Right.
wasn't using the core correctly. And yoga for me, I use like 4 or 5 blocks to do some of the stretches.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some poses that I absolutely love. Yoga that I incorporate in some of our pitching routines to
Yes.
create some of that mobility in the shoulder, the core, the back, whatever that pitching routine is for that day. And I believe in stretching. I'm a big player. I was always a big guy. I caught and I could sit my butt down on the ground. And that for me, it was just I cared about being flexible. And I also think it helped me be a little bit quicker. To kind of just talk about like just the differences in getting to that mobility. I can remember as a kid, playing hockey, playing basketball in the street, playing flag
Mm-hmm.
football on the street, playing tag, playing freeze tag, playing,
Right.
all these goofy little things and trying to jump. If you had a short little 4-foot fence, people would try to jump over that
Yep.
by putting their foot on the top of it and then jump over. It was always a game. We don't run and jump enough as kids in general. We don't
Agreed.
ride bikes enough. We don't move laterally enough. And we have this conversation a lot with For the Athlete and CJ inside the hitting zone. We've been talking about this a lot lately. Is that our youth does not move,
No.
and I'm not saying that they don't go outside and play. I'm saying they don't move like we used to. I mean, think about all the
Right.
times you try to juke somebody from not getting tagged,
Yeah. And freeze tag
or
all the
you're trying
time.
to
Yeah.
trying to do bunny hops off of a bike,
Yep.
trying to surf on your bike, trying to ride a skateboard. running and jumping over people, putting your hands on their shoulders to jump over them. Those are all things that are body awareness. And I don't remember all of these knee injuries growing up. I don't
No.
remember a bunch of ankle injuries. I don't remember arms being tired. We don't throw enough. And then when the season's here, we abuse the heck out of our bodies.
Yeah.
And then we don't take care of them after, which obviously is the point of the show. And at the end of the day, you need to, if you don't know what you're doing, hire somebody. It is worth it, especially if you're older and you're in high school and you're trying to prepare for college. And one thing that I do want to say is make sure that if you are that 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, you pay attention to what's on the NCAA's ban list if you're trying to put supplements in your body.
Agreed wholeheartly.
Do not go out there and just start taking supplements if you're walking into your freshman year of college.
No.
They will pop you, and then next thing you know, you're sitting a bench because you thought you were taking a creatine or some pre-workout that you're trying to get through a day. So pay attention to the ban list.
Research the companies that you're buying from. Take the time, and what you're saying, go hire someone. Take the time, go to your supplement superstore in town. Go talk to those people. They are more than willing to help you for free. They will talk to you all day long for free. You can walk into a supplement superstore right now and get your body comp test. Know exactly what your body composition is. You can do all these things. You can find these resources for free to help your body out. And I guarantee as well, most of the time whenever you sign up for a local gym, I know it is at Club Fitness, you get a free consultation with a personal trainer right off the rip. You go in and talk to someone. If you are looking for a gym, anything like that, go in, talk to them, see what they even recommend. Hey, I'm a baseball player. I've been having these problems. I want to do this and this. See what they'll tell you. They will tell you in that free consultation. You can ask all kinds of questions. Take the time to do those things. I think that is so important for these guys coming up to actually look around, take advantage, do your research, do your homework, get out there and learn how to properly supplement, take care of your body, and do all those things. Definitely.
Heck yeah. The interesting piece to this is this is very simple for this conversation for me is simple from like the age of 13 on up. It's very difficult to try to figure out how do you manage the recovery for younger kids. And you're obviously not wanting to get them into lifting weights. You don't necessarily want to get them into moving heavy balls and things like that. For me, it's like, okay, hey, let's just stretch. Let's just go run and jump. Let's be kids. Let's go to the playground. For me, for our younger groups, when we do our kind of recovery process in the fall, it's not geared the same, right? It's totally two different developing bodies. And it's a lot of stretching. It is a lot of core exercising, and it is a lot of high intensity movements, body weight movements. It'll be things like doing box jumps, ladder drills, keeping the the cardiovascular up in your body, and you're not really developing muscle like that.
Right.
Some push-ups, fine, but you could be doing so many different things to help build your shoulders and chest, just doing push-up planks, or something of that nature. So it's very different. It's probably much easier, to manage your youth on recovery than it is trying to manage your high school kids, because you have such varying bodies and maturity in the body.
And with that, with the youth side and what you were talking about, that also teaches their young body how to move correctly. That's the big thing, was that is as they're developing, as they're hitting puberty, all those things, it's teaching their body how to properly align itself, move, have the mobility, and grow correctly. And I agree. I think that's a huge part of that with the youth side. Definitely.
Yeah, we're trying to do that right now. Actually, at THZ, I mean, we are trying to build and move young players in the area, and it has nothing to do with tribe athletics or anything that nature. We are genuinely trying to prepare 7, 8, 9-year-olds to move athletically, to avoid little minor injuries when you're younger.
Yeah.
Because you see it now, just the way that running two bases and watching them stop and then not slide, and it drives me crazy. That's a developmental thing.
Yep.
But also, like, how many times do we practice running and then stopping and then moving? We don't do that enough, right? As kids, again, like going back to what you did growing up, when you played tag or you were doing something, or if you played dodgeball or whatever, bombardment, whatever you did, you were moving in ways laterally, vertically, dropping, like burpees. You moved your body in a bunch of different ways. And I firmly believe we don't do enough of that. But to me, that's part of the recovery process. Instead of building the muscle, moving the muscle in different ways, mobility, agility is key. At least in I'm not a physical science, or not physical science, I guess that wouldn't be the word, but exercise science major. I have got experience in it because obviously I've played high school baseball, played college baseball, played college football, and then coached it. And then obviously we have I care about lifting weights. And so this is a personal opinion. This is what I want for my athletes. And I obviously pay attention because I don't want to steer anybody in the wrong direction. So I leave that up to the guys like CJ to develop the plans, essentially, that's inside of our facility, or, the Caroline or Jeremy that we had in there before. Those are the guys that I rely on, the Stephen Downings of the world. Those guys are amazing. They do a great job. And I know that it can be expensive, but the overall health, you don't want to shut it down just to recover, because at some point then you become, it's hard to get back into it, right? You just have to keep going. It's just like anything else. If you're hitting, you need to hit every day. If you're trying to field, you need to try to bounce a ball off the ground every single day. If you're pitching, you need to take care of your body after day after, and get into a long toss program. You just can't pitch one time a week and expect to, throw 80 pitches a weekend out there without some kind of soreness. You have to throw the baseball. You have to hit the baseball. You have to field the baseball, and you have to watch baseball. At the end of the day, like, just pay attention to what's happening to the best of the best in our areas, whether you're 12 or whether you're 18 or you're a big leaguer. Like, they take care of themselves.
Yes.
There's a reason why there's gyms in high schools and gyms in college and gyms in the major league parks. Take care of the body.
Yes.
Take care of the body. It usually helps the mind out. When the body starts getting sore, the mind starts to break down.
And that's something that my dad has instilled in me for a very long time. He's told me that constantly growing up, is the body follows the mind. And it just, as your body gets tired, your mind will get tired too, and then it makes your body even more so. It's a snowball effect consistently, because like you said, as it makes it harder on your mind, and as your mind wears down, it'll make it harder on your body, and then it just keeps going and going. It's tough. Definitely.
I feel like it's a little placebo effect, like, that it's just a little nagging injury, but as soon as your mind tells you can't do something because of the little nagging injury, it becomes a big injury.
Exactly.
Or a big problem where you don't want to get out there to the chiropractor or stretch or, work through it in a game or something of that nature. And he's been saying that since I've been on the show now, almost, I guess, a little over a year. I think we've been doing this show, and he has said that several times.
Yep.
That it happens, and I'm in that now. I have a bad back, and there's days if I wake up and I think about my back, I'll have a bad day. So I have to wake up in the morning, look at it, and say, okay, don't forget to do your stretches, dummy. Like, get up, do your thing, so that you can have a great day. Because again, the mind is going to, if the mind wanders, it's a bad thing. You have to stay straight line focused. So on that eye of the tiger, eye on the prize is what I meant to say. I don't know why I had eye of the tiger. I was literally listening to it earlier on my playlist as I was kind of jamming, trying to do some scheduling, and I need the eye of the tiger for the scheduling for the facilities. So it keeps me motivated.
The inspiration.
But I love this topic.
Yeah.
I do. I love this topic. I'm a big guy, and I care a lot about lifting and teaching lifting and teaching proper movements and just in general, like whether it's pitching, hitting, fielding, lifting weights. Um, I have noticed that their kids do not move or even process the movement patterns because there's a lot of things that they just don't do anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer: go outside, run, jump, practice your sport every single day that you can. Watch the sport that you want to play. And while you're watching it, get a stretch in, get some push-ups in, get some body weight movements in, because you clearly don't want to lose things.
Yeah. No.
You've already probably depleted your body
Yep.
from a long season already. You're probably lost 10 pounds, and the first thing you want to do is put it right back on so that you can get those chiseled abs again for all these small people. But at the end of the day, like, that comes when the winter time hits. That's when you could start getting into that bulking phase.
Yes.
And then, working into that bulking phase, towards the end of that, you're working back into your mobility, your high intensities, and then get your in-season lifts on. I had a kid the other day. We were scrimmaging. This is at practice, and I'm a small details kind of guy, and I'm such a petty dude on this. Like, fly ball goes in the air, my whole infield has to point. It's like it has to happen, right? I mean, if I see it in the big leagues, why wouldn't we want to practice what they do in the big leagues, right? And I'm not saying that I have big league players. I'm not even close. But catchers sometimes need some help. And so, outfielders sometimes need some help. And we didn't do it at practice. And so I told the kid, I was like, fine, if you're not going to do this at practice, we're doing burpees. Always know that negative reinforcement always works, right? So it's hot. This is right before our tournament. He goes out and does some burpees, and then he has to go hit.
Ooh.
And then he hits, and he's feeling pretty good. Like, his body was movement. His body was, it was hot outside, but the blood flow. He goes out and puts a swing on a ball like I had never seen before. He hits me at third base, and we were scrimmaging our older team, and he goes, I think I'm going to do burpees before every game. And I was like, well, maybe not burpees, but maybe you can get into, a little bit of a different, dynamic warm up or something. He's like, nope. So he comes out and he starts repping out push-ups and stuff before a game and gets the blood flow, right? The pump. It makes you feel good.
Yep.
And make that part of your recovery is what I was getting at, is get to that movement where you're feeling good. And even when you're dog tired, like, just go ahead and get yourself some push-ups in.
Yes.
Maybe your body needs to move a little bit because you've been sitting at the desk all day long, even as an adult, right? I mean, we have those complaints too. So, this is a good topic here. I love this. I probably talked more than I wanted. You're the young,
you're good.
Young buck that's in there lifting weights religiously. I know that. Every time I get in there, you're like, I gotta go. I gotta get to the gym.
Yeah.
So I mean, even you're taking care of your body. You've been out of the sport for a while, and still trying to take care of your body. And I am sure that you don't lift the same way all year long, so that your body can have a chance to recover and rebuild.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is just figuring out what works for you. Like you said, however you make your body feel good, and don't, as a guy that's coming in new to lifting or anything like that, anyone that way, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask someone, hey, what do you do? How do you do this movement? I want to try this. What do you recommend? Don't be afraid to ask someone that's even an 18, 19-year-old that's been doing it, another athlete that's in your high school, in your summer program, any of those guys. Talk to them, ask them. I think that is a great resource for those kids. That's a big part of it. And, it's not only about the sport, but like you said, me lifting long-term after the sport, it's about a healthy body for your entire life. You don't want to do something now that's going to destroy your knee to where you're going to have, knee surgery, whenever you're 25 years old, 30 years old, because you didn't take care of it now. Same with your back, your hips, all of those things. You don't want to have these long-term negative side effects that can come from not recovering properly, not taking care of your body properly. I think that is such a major part of it, definitely.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. Is we're talking about muscles and joints and stuff like that, but don't forget your nutrition.
Yes.
Don't forget that nutrition, drinking that water, trying to stay away from the Gatorades and things like that, getting that water in your body, recovering, and then obviously your food choices. I can, being a big fella, my food choices are not always the best. And I can tell you
Right.
that if I have, an ice cream sandwich or something before I go to bed, I wake up the next morning ultimately sore. Um, and all I did was go to sleep, and you would think my body would recover. Well, them sugars that I had in that, impacts your bodies very differently, and then inflammation. So, you're trying to recover. Find a way, maybe to take a flush. Maybe it's a full flush, or it's a kidney flush, or it's just a gut health flush kind of thing, and flush some of the toxins out from the season. Because I'm sure if you've been on the road, you probably had some hamburgers and French fries, and
Yeah.
um, help your body recover through nutrition as well.
And
Um,
just to piggyback,
it,
I would say my biggest tips for those guys nutrition wise. Now this I'm not a nutritionist myself, but I've talked to these guys. I know them. I'm at Supplement Superstore all the time talking to those guys. I've talked to the guys at First Form. I know I've met a lot of people and talked to a lot of people with this. My biggest tips: drink a lot of water for one, at least a half gallon a day, at least. Minimize your sugar content. That comes from, like you said, Gatorade. And I see guys chugging Gatorade all the time. That's so bad. I mean, it's flaming 34 grams of sugar per serving. That is ridiculous. There's no
don't forget the
reason.
bang that they had probably before they got there.
Oh, tell me about it. That is flaming ridiculous. Minimize your sugar content. Eat protein. Eat protein. I know a lot of these guys are all about their protein shakes, and that's awesome. You should for sure drink a protein shake after your workouts. Post-workout recovery is one of the biggest things. Eat protein throughout the day, though. Get up first thing in the morning, get some eggs in you. Get something like that. Go get some Kodiak cakes from Walmart. Get those protein waffles in you if you don't want to do eggs, if you don't like that. You can find something to substitute. Most people don't realize, most people, in my opinion, in this country don't get enough protein in their diets in general. Now you have to do some math on this because we do it a little different. For every kilogram you weigh, you should have a gram of protein every day for that, on average. That's a lot of protein that most people, I promise, do not get in their day. And I guarantee you, if as an athlete you begin to do that, you begin to drink the water, you minimize your sugar content, you get enough of the correct carbohydrates in you, not all these simple carbs, coming out of, McDonald's, all that kind of stuff, but complex carbohydrates, getting the correct fueling sources in you, you will feel better in general. Wholeheartedly you will.
Yeah, I can remember back in high school. This kind of started when we got our new head coaching staff in there. One of the things that they cared about was meals,
Yep.
and they wanted to have this balanced meal before our 7 o'clock game, so that we can go out and be efficient till 10 o'clock, 11, 10:30 at night. And I can remember one of our first meals that it wasn't prepared correctly, and we had gone out there and had so many carbohydrates, like a bunch of pastas and bread, and it was at like 4:30, 5 o'clock or something. We had these before we're starting to get dressed and all that stuff. And I can remember going out about halftime, every player has crashed, and now you're
Yeah.
trying to find things to shove down your throat to try to get your energy back, which
Right.
usually is something chocolate. Our go-to was mini Snickers if you needed that little pick-me-up rush. But how many did you have to eat to get through the rest of your game? And so I agree. The protein is always the hardest, and
Yeah.
I am not a big protein shake kind of guy, and I'm not really big into the post-workout proteins, just because of how it sits on me. And so what I do
Understand.
is I go and eat it, and I eat animal protein. And so if it's a can of tuna, I might eat that with a few crackers, a piece of cheese or something like that to get in there, or I'll eat it on a lettuce wrap or something of that nature. I try to get in the animal side, because when I get done lifting, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And I'm not thirsty, and I don't want that chocolatey. If I have that, if I get the the lactose free stuff or stuff that Supplement Superstore First Form has, even then, like I get that milky feel on the back of the throat. I can't stand that, and that's just a personal thing. Some
Yeah.
people, I mean, I can't tell you how many times. Obviously, you walk in the bathroom of a gym and or whatever, the locker room of the gym, they'll have protein powder everywhere, or
Oh yeah.
pre-workout powders everywhere. Some guys religiously have their BCAAs in there, or, their glucose stuff in there. And I mean, they are religious about it. And I mean, heck, they're in some pretty good shape usually too. So there's obviously a reason for it. Know your body. I preferably, I'm eating animal protein. And that's
Yeah.
obviously the best way to get the protein into your body is through animal, which eggs, beef, chicken, tuna, things like that. So just be aware of what you're putting in your body. Like you said, half a gallon
Exactly.
minimum a day. I know that when I'm dehydrated, um, I'm more hungry. I crave more sugars.
Yep.
Um,
You're more
and
tired.
so, yep, drink a ton of water, flush that stuff out your body.
Yep.
And again, diet is key for that recovery process.
Definitely.
It is tough though, right? I mean, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you
It's
spend a
hard.
lot of time on the road, and
It's hard.
it's hard to, like, what do you eat? You bring stuff to the game, but then you run out of it because you're playing 3 games in that day all of a
Yeah.
sudden, and now you need to go to the concession stands. I guarantee mom's not wanting to go home and cook dinner and cook some, nice steak and a couple, nice little sweet potato or something. I'm eating French fries, but I was trying to be nice for the base of the show, but they're not cooking that. Dad's not cooking that, especially
No.
if your dad was probably decompressing. The kid's just going to sit down and do nothing and play video games. So end up at Red Robin, eating endless fries and having adults are having adult beverages and kids are drinking
Yep.
sodas. Um, I'm not here to judge. Obviously, I'm a heavy guy, but I'm telling you, from the choices I have made
Mm-hmm.
and where I've how heavy I've been and how light I've been as I could tell you I'd much rather be on the end of controlling my diet than just doing whatever the heck I wanted to do,
Right.
in controlling how I feel just in general. So if as adults we do a better job of the recovery process with our kids, I think they'll follow suit because we're the ones leading the way. So
Exactly. We got to set the
um,
example for it.
yeah, do
Exactly.
it. Do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to hire somebody. Don't be afraid to use the internet. Don't be afraid to use Supplement Superstore. It's a great place. There is a ton of information out there. Don't go, looking at the pros and cons of everything, because
Mm-hmm.
it'll drive you crazy.
Yep.
Um, just understand. Ask your friends. Ask the people who that are physically gifted. Ask them what they do with their bodies. Ask the questions. If you see a kid that just never gets hurt and he's always in good shape, he's fast and he's mobile and he can play shortstop, center field, pitch, catch, whatever, run and jump. Ask that kid what he does all the time.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of asking those questions for sure, because you'll get information.
Yes, you will. You will. Well, Mitch, that was a fun conversation. That was a fun conversation. I enjoyed that a lot. And if anyone has any questions for us, reach out to us. Send us a comment. Reach out to us on Instagram if you want. However you want to. Ask us questions. We'd be happy to talk to you if you need a place to start. If you just need the jumping off point. Where do I start? Where do I begin this? Where do I look at it? Let us know. That'd be awesome. We'd love to hear from anyone who needs that. For sure.
Heck yeah, comments too. Like if you are going through something particular, or you are a former athlete and you had a routine,
Mm-hmm.
add that in here, because people
Definitely.
that are watching this show and subscribe, they'll see this information, and it could be very good for that 10-year-old in a couple years when he has to go through this process, that they can remember this video and your comments. And again, it's what I like about this is it's not a cookie cutter program, right? It is
Right.
yours, and it is your body. It is your mental makeup. It is things that you have to pay attention to. What I do for myself is not the same as Justin's. I
Nope.
can't handle certain pre-workouts that Justin can. And if it's age, it might not be. Some of the ingredients in there, like niacin, impacts me very different than other supplements that don't have it. And so aspartame in general, like things like that, you have got to pay attention to the ingredients.
Yes.
That's why it's important to talk to those people who do that for a living. And
Definitely.
even though you don't want to do it or you're in a rush, make sure you do this when you have the time.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate your time, man.
You're welcome. I just want to know, you're going to be able to close the show out like Pops?
It's a hard show to follow. It really is. So I'm gonna just try and do it my own way. I know all you pitchers keep throwing strikes. You hitters, Mitch,
hit them where they ain't.
Doubles and dingers, right?
Doubles and dingers. Everybody loves double Ds.
Amen. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you in the next show.